Hey fam, it's Dan here. Now that I have the lathe, I need to be able to cut circles. So it's time I make a circle jig for the bandsaw, just to make that a little bit easier. I'm going to make it really simple, and I'm going to bring you along with me. Let's get building. Okay, I'm going to use this piece of plywood. I just need to square it up. I need two strips. I need one to be the base that's going to slide in and out, and another little piece to be the T-track. Although it's, you know what, I might have T-bolts that I can use, which would actually probably be better than trying to put a track on that. Just a second. So I have these little T-track bolts that I think might actually be a better solution. The only thing is, they can't be higher than the surface of the plywood, because then they're going to interfere with making the cut. That might be an unsolvable problem, because I'd have to put regular threaded nuts on the end of these, and I would have to countersink those into the plywood. Problem solving in real time here. So I think for now I'm just going to have to go with a channel. So back to plan A. All right, back to plan A. I need to square this up before I do anything else. And I was going to make the first cut on the bandsaw itself, but this edge here seems to be pretty square. So I'm going to use this as my first reference edge in the table saw and just square everything else off. So the largest diameter my lathe can hold is 8 inches, which means the longest this is going to be is half of that, so that's 4 inches. So 4 and 4 will give me an 8-inch diameter. So let's make, I really want to make the circle cutter this whole area. That will give me the most stability. So that's like 7.5 inches. Which is, yeah, that's plenty big enough, and it'll leave us some offcut to use to make this rail. So I think it's actually going to extend up into the plywood a little bit. So we'll have to route a groove or dado a groove in this for that. So first things first, we need that dimension there. That is, what is that? It's a half. That's 3/8, half, quarter, 8. That's 3/8. So the narrowest width here is 3/8 of an inch. So I want to cut a 3/8 inch strip off of this. This is going to be our actual jig. So I want to attach the rail to this, overshooting this a little bit, and then run this through to trim this off. And then we'll put some holes in this. Instead of trying to set up the dado with a router, I'm just going to make shallow passes with the saw blade. A nice easy way to glue these together would be brad nails and wood glue, but I don't really have a brad nailer. The one I do is, so I'm just going to super glue this in place. That should hold just fine. And I have some of this medium thickness black super glue here. So we'll just run a bead along there. That's soak in. And we'll put a little accelerator on the wood. It's going in. That causes the super glue to cure instantly. Now we'll line this up, plop it in, and in no time at all, a strong glue joint. Now I want to wax this. so it will glide easily. Almost time for me to buy a new can of wax. This one's just about empty. You know, one thing about wax is the woodworking community is obsessed with Johnson's paste wax. Johnson's paste wax is no longer manufactured. So it's like the holy grail of paste waxes now. Honestly, I don't know if it's really that much better than any other paste wax on the market, or if people just remember it fondly, and that's what's making everybody want to buy it. But this stuff is inexpensive and readily available. All right, that slides nice and easily. Now we'll just run this forward and we'll have our line along there. You know, honestly, this is such a super simple jig. I don't know why I didn't make one before now, because I certainly have had use for it. All right. So now we're going to find the center of this way. Where did my pencil go? So that's just shy of 10 inches. 5 inches. Precision is not paramount here. Like, I'm just kind of randomly picking the middle of this board for where I want to make this, but it doesn't have to be. That just seems the most sensible to me, to have it in the middle of the board. All right, so 4 inches is going to be right here. That's the biggest one we're going to make. But I think I want to actually go like 1/8 of an inch under that. So that's going to be where our first one is going to go. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. I'll bring you around. So that's where our first one is going to go. So I want to do every 1/2 inch. But that would be... Curiously enough, that would not be every 1/2 inch, would it? Because if we move a 1/4 inch on here, because the 3, that's going to be... This will be a 6-inch diameter. This will be an 8-inch diameter. So this will be a 7-inch diameter. 5 inches, 4 inches, 3 inches, 2 inches, 1 inch. I wanted to do halves, half diameters as well. That would mean going in the 1/4 marks. So that would be 7.5, 6.5, 5.5, 4.5, 3.5, 2.5, 1.5. I don't really need a 1/2 inch one. Those points are very close together. That may be a problem. So for this one, I think I'm just going to go on the inch marks. So now I have to figure out what I'm going to use for a pivot pin in here. And I was thinking initially about wood dowels, but I think I have some brass rod kicking around, so let me see if I can find that. Ta-da! This might almost be a little too big, but I can't really go any smaller than this. And I don't need this whole long thing. I'm just going to need a little bit off the bottom. I think it is 13/64 or 7/32. I need it big enough so it'll slide in and out, but not so big it's going to be wobbly. So let's drill a test hole here. Perfect. It's got a little bit of wobble to it, but close enough. This doesn't have to be super precision. All right, so now I just need to drill my holes. So we're going to start right here. All right. Looking good. So that's how deep it sets. I think we're going to have it come up that much higher. So let's see if I can cut this on the table saw. Okay. Well, the table saw cut it, but it also launched the piece it offcut. Probably somewhere into the stratosphere. So let's see if the bandsaw will cut it. That went much better. All right, and it's sitting in there good height. I just need to sand or file that roughness. All right, that's it. That's my jig. Now, the only other thing I want to do is write on here 13/64, because that's the size of the hole I drilled for this dowel pin. So that's what I'm going to need to drill in anything I'm trying to make a cut. All right, let's give it a test. Ta-da! That worked great. I should have made one of these a while ago. I think the trick is making sure that I get this far enough forward to be ahead of the blade. And figuring out where to keep this so I don't lose it or lose the pin. But that is that. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you in the next video.